20 years ago, a father found his 19-year-old daughter stabbed to death inside her apartment.
As time passed, it appeared police were no closer to solving the murder of Carmen Van Huss. News 8's Julian Grace takes a look at how DNA evidence could point detectives in the right direction.
This assignment took me deep into the collection of our archives. And there I found it, a tape dating back to March 24th, 1993. On that day, calls were placed to a girl named Carmen Van Huss. She didn't pick up though. And as for work, she was a no call, no show. Like any protector, Carmen's dad became worried about his 19-year-old daughter. He arrived to Carmen's apartment and he found his little girl had been stabbed to death. Detectives moved in and found out Carmen not only had been stabbed, but also raped. An investigation ensued. Officers collected DNA evidence. Then in the days and months that followed, there were no leads, no suspect, and the case went cold. And as for the DNA, investigators would soon learn someone sent the wrong DNA from Carmen's scene to the lab.
The case is very important because, like the chief said, it's our city. Somebody was killed brutally in 1993, and we're not going to forget about that.
But in 2015, IMPD Sergeant William Carter started looking into Carmen's case. He created a GoFundMe page to raise money for a specialized DNA test, and the people started chipping in. And with hours, enough cash was raised for a new test.
We want Bill Carter back on the case.
Then there was another blow when the Van Huss family learned that Sergeant Carter was no longer working on Carmen's case.
All we want is the case to be worked on. We're not saying the DNA test that he wants will solve it. We're not saying Bill Carter will solve it, but he's our best shot at it.
Some say the department had been frustrated that Carter raised public funds for a specialized DNA test.
As you remember,
back in 2015, IMPD's chief at the time, Rick Hyde, held a news conference that offered little clarity on the topic or any information in Carter's role with the case moving forward. Three years have gone by since that news conference. And Carmen's case remains unsolved. And when we questioned IMPD about the case, we were told additional forensic DNA work is being scheduled from an outside source. And now we wait, while family hopes that Carmen's case won't be placed back on the shelf, and that someone will determine who killed Carmen Van Huss.
And now an update on a cold case. The family of a murder victim from the early 90s now tonight finally is getting some long-awaited answers. 19-year-old Carmen Van Huss was raped and murdered way back in 1993.
And her killer was never found. That changed this past weekend. IMPD announced an arrest in the case of a man police say used to be Van Huss's neighbor.
Our Emily Longnecker heard from the family today about this long-awaited moment.
Yeah, the name of the suspect was never uttered today. Instead, the focus stayed solely on Carmen Van Huss, who was only 19 when she was murdered, and her brother today spoke about the life she never got to experience.
Carmen Van Huss was still in college, her whole life still ahead of her, when someone raped and murdered her inside her Northwest Indy apartment. Her father found her body. He died in 2002, never knowing who was responsible for his daughter's murder. Tuesday, Carmen's brother spoke about finally having answers.
For my dad to have to find his daughter after what was brutally done to her makes this day bittersweet. I wish he was here to see it.
The announcement of a break in the case and an arrest of a suspect in Missouri comes after years with no answers. In 2015, investigators tested DNA samples from the scene with no results. Almost a decade later, police say advancements in DNA technology, combined with the use of information found in genealogy databases, brought new leads that eventually led police to a suspect in Missouri. Almost a decade later, police say advancements in DNA testing, combined with the use of information found in genealogy databases, brought new leads that eventually led police to a suspect in Missouri.
Obviously, we wanted to offer a solution and just kept working it, and technology in DNA constantly evolves, and so it was
the DNA test in 2015 was definitely different from this type of testing.
Now Carmen's family is hoping the same testing advances that help solve this case can allow other families to someday stand where they are now.
I do have hope that any similar case with DNA can get this same treatment with the genealogy and everything we have available today. I want all of them to get the same attention and maybe we can have some more outcomes like this.
Coming up tonight at 6, what IMPD is saying about other unsolved homicides and their message for other families still looking for answers and justice. In downtown Indianapolis, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Now, the suspect in this case, Dana Shepard, is facing 2 counts of murder and 1 count of rape. He's currently being held in a Missouri jail, awaiting for a hearing to determine when he will be brought back to Marion County to face those charges. A man accused of raping and killing an Indianapolis woman more than 30 years ago could face 105 years in prison if convicted.
Dana Shepard made his first appearance in a Marion County courtroom this morning. Police arrested him in Missouri back in August after a DNA sample linked him to the death of 19-year-old Carmen Van Huss.
Someone killed her in her apartment on the north side of Indy back in 1993. The coroner found that she had been stabbed 61 times. Shepard is expected to go on trial in January for her murder.
The judge denied bond today for the man accused of shooting and killing a Seymour Johnson airman last summer. Police say 32-year-old Ryan Apollo Morgan was killed outside a bar following an argument. His death spurred the city of Goldsboro to make changes on how it handles violent crime. Our David Hurst caught up with leaders today to find out if they've seen an impact.
We were very concerned about it.
The Goldsboro murder of a Seymour Johnson airman was 6 months ago, but it's still fresh in many minds.
But that was the first time I heard anybody getting killed or shot downtown.
In July, 32-year-old Ryan Apollo Morgan was shot and killed outside the bar Rail House, which was shut down following the shooting. This weekend, 36-year-old Bobby Williams was charged in the murder and extradited to Goldsboro from Greene County, where he was jailed on unrelated charges.
I was glad to hear they have caught this guy.
Morgan's death was one of 8 murders in the first half of 2016 in Goldsboro, a record pace for the city. In response, city leaders announced some changes, including new technology, improved community policing, and hiring more police officers in an effort to reduce the violent crime.
We like to be able to charge or solve all of the crimes that occur, particularly those that are the more serious offenses, because it brings closure for the families that are involved and really for the community as a whole.
There are changes that many in the community say they've seen firsthand.
We see them more interacting with the citizens and just more presence on the street, period.
City leaders say there were only 3 homicides the rest of 2016, putting the total at 11, but 6 of those remain unsolved. Many hope the recent arrest will bring some hope to those victims' families still looking for closure.
Homicides are going to be something we're going to stay on trying to solve till we get to the end. Even years later, we're still trying to solve those cases.
Reporting in Goldsboro, David Hurst, CBS, North Carolina.
A woman in New Orleans gets carjacked and run over as she pumped gas at Costco on Carrollton Avenue. This happened yesterday afternoon in the middle of the day.
And witnesses there say the level of crime in the city is shocking. Natasha Robin has the story.
It's just so quickly burning rubber out of the parking lot, and just really all you could hear was her being run over by her own car.
Witnesses describe a horrific scene that unfolded in the middle of the day in the Costco gas line. A woman carjacked, dragged, and run over.
And I see another lady running down asking if there's a doctor or a nurse or an EMT. So I don't think twice. I get out of my car. The man in front of me continues pumping gas at this point, and I see a woman being dragged by a car.
Dr. Arthi Pays ran over to the victim lying on the ground bloody and unconscious.
And she's on the ground, face down, and initially I thought she didn't have an arm because she was twisted and contorted and just bleeding from her face.
She says the victim rolled over on her side.
I checked her head for her wounds, but she had a scalp laceration and those just bleed profusely, which is why her face was full of blood. But she had abrasions all over her arms, and I think that was from being dragged.
Witnesses tell Fox 8 they were especially disappointed to see so many people casually going on with their lives.
Like, a lot of people just kind of stood there. The guys behind me asked me to move my car so they could get to the pump after like 5 minutes.
She was likely a wife, a mother. She was almost my age. And I kept thinking that could have been me. Would I want to be there like that? And yes, I'm a medical professional, but that had nothing to do with why I got out of my car.
A second woman nearly became a victim on Monday night at the same Costco. Fox 8 obtained the video of what police say they're investigating as a simple carjacking. A woman was pumping gas and a man tries to steal her car.
People I know personally have been victims, or it's always a neighbor or a friend, or you were there. I know a lot of people who love this city and are making plans to move.
Witnesses say violent crime in New Orleans is outrageous.
Something needs to be done.
And I live in fear knowing that these people are getting away with this, that there's a woman in the ICU right now that was just running errands and filling gas. She was in her gym clothes.
Carjackings across New Orleans are happening at an alarming rate. According to the Metropolitan Crime Commission, the NOPD's investigated more than 50 incidents so far this year. Natasha Robin, Fox 8, Local First.
Now, we reached out to Costco to get a comment about their security measures after multiple incidents happened there over the last several months, but the employee who took our call said the manager had no comment.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Cherise Gibson. Today, a judge sentenced a New Orleans man to 45 years in prison and federal prison for multiple counts of conspiracy, carjacking, and gun charges. Now, one of those carjackings left a woman seriously hurt at the Costco gas station. Mike McDaniel was inside of that courtroom as Tyrese Harris got combative with the judge just before he was sentenced.
Standing before a federal judge Tuesday, 20-year-old Tyrese Harris was given a 45-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to 5 charges connected to carjackings and weapons violations.
We're disappointed by the sentence. It is much higher than we were hoping.
Defense attorney Michael Kennedy hopes Harris can one day return to society as a productive citizen.
When you're young, you don't always have comprehension of these things, but he has started to realize that his actions had far more widespread consequences than he would have thought.
Those consequences stem from crimes that happened in less than 6 months, between August 19, 2021 and February 1, 2022. There was a carjacking on Washington Avenue, a shooting during an attempted carjacking on Howard Avenue, and the February 2022 carjacking of Kelly Ryan as she was getting gas at the Costco gas station. Ryan was left for dead, but survived with serious injuries.
I am not minimizing his actions. These were terrible crimes of violence that we have dealt with. But I want to make it clear that no matter how he has presented himself, there is remorse.
Standing before the court, Harris said he was sorry, but Judge Jay Zaney stopped him and said, quote, "You're sorry you got caught." Harris then accused the judge of making him out to be a monster, saying, quote, "I know you're in control of my life, but I don't hold my tongue for anybody. I'm going to take my L, like a man. Yeah, I did it. I did it for a reason. I'm truly sorry." Harris eventually told the court, "F you. Whoever is against me, F you."
We do want to express sympathy to any victims, their families, and as I said, to the community at large, because we recognize this did not just affect certain people, it affected our entire community.
An impact statement from Ryan's husband was read in court. It said Ryan would never be the same. She deals with physical and mental problems, and a piece of her has forever been taken away from her kids and family. Other victims weren't able to be in court, but the judge made sure they were seen by making the sentences for the 4 counts involving victims to run consecutively. Mike McDaniel, Eyewitness News.
Harris also admitted to killing 12-year-old Derek Cash in January of 2022. That shooting happened in New Orleans East. Harris is set to stand trial for that next month. Harris will serve out his federal sentence at a prison near Atlanta, which was requested.
Good evening, everyone. The general manager of a popular over-the-Rhine bar is recovering from a very serious brain injury tonight.
And police say they are still looking for the man who knocked her out as she was walking to her car after work. 38-year-old Jen Watts is a well-known longtime employee of Japs on Main Street, and that is where Local 12's Joe Webb joins us now with the very latest. Hi, Joe.
Well, Liz, the latest is the family wants everyone to know just how seriously Jen Watts was injured and that she was an innocent victim, using the buddy system, leaving after work with a friend.
We were just leaving with our stuff out of Japs.
Bartender Danny McPherson walked his manager Jen Watts to her car early Sunday morning. They went down Michael Bainey Alley to Sycamore, where they saw a guy arguing with police officers outside the Treehouse bar. Then they walked across the street to Watts's car and saw that same guy angrily pulling out a few cars away.
He probably went in reverse in a span of like 15 feet at like 30 miles per hour.
Hit another car.
Hit another car and opened his door to look to see what happened and saw me trying to document it.
But before McPherson could fire up his phone, the man was out of the car and punched Jen Watts. He hit her and knocked her down here.
Knocked her down right here. Yeah, she was laying on the ground right here.
This is a picture of the suspect taken from the body camera of a police officer. This is his car. This is Jen Watts, after having part of her skull removed temporarily to relieve pressure from a bleeding brain. She now has 3 metal plates in her head. Her family says she is rapidly recovering.
I'm a pretty happy person, but as happy as I am, I'm so pissed off you couldn't even imagine.
Molly Wellman owns Japs. She says Jen Watts is a big persona in a tiny body. Sweet, sassy, and selfless. A tireless worker who deserves justice.
She is our mama, general manager, hero, leader, everything. She's our everything. I really want to find, I really hope that this guy turns himself in, or if somebody knows this guy, helps us find him. He needs to be responsible. He needs to pay for what he's done. He really does.
Now, the good news out of all of this is in Jen Watts' recovery. This morning, she talked to and texted her sister. She actually approved the photographs that were used in the story that we just aired. Molly Wellman says Jen texted her early today and that her text had a little bit of attitude, including the fact that she is really irritated that they had to shave her head. So that's all good news. Reporting live from Main Street in Over the Rhine, I'm Joe Webb, Local 12 News. Liz?
Yeah, sad, but that is good news that her personality's kind of coming back. Thanks, Joe. And if you have any information about this assault in the parking lot on Sycamore or anything that you might know about the suspect, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 352.
Switching gears now, a known criminal gets handed another sentence for his attack on an OTR bar manager. Lucian Lanier hit that woman so hard she actually needed brain surgery. As Local 12's Megan Mangello shows us, he's been in trouble for assault before, and it was even caught on camera.
This is Lucian Lanier standing in a plaid shirt 4 years ago on another charge. Watch as in the back of the courtroom he starts fighting. Police had a few mugshots on file and say he's got a long record of assaults, drug trafficking, and domestic violence. Today he walked into a courtroom on a felonious assault charge and said,
"Guilty."
With that plea, Lanier received a deal for 5 years in prison. Back in June, Cincinnati police gathered enough evidence to put out an alert saying Lanier was a wanted man. Investigators were looking into who attacked a bar manager in a Sycamore Street parking lot. Jen Watts was hit in the head with his fist so hard it cracked her skull. She wiped away tears as she looked at the man who did it. Then she mustered up her courage and said this.
What I want to say is that he tried to kill me and he hurt me really bad, but he couldn't. And I only had a few minutes to live, but I held on, and I'm stronger than him, and now I'm not afraid of him anymore.
Jen Watts said what happened in court today will help with her mental healing process. Though she didn't get an apology, Lanier chose not to make a statement.
I will say that Mr. Lanier has expressed remorse for his actions that evening to me, but I have advised him not to make a statement on the record.
Watching the sentencing unfold were Jen Watts' family and friends. Bar owner and well-known mixologist Molly Wellman said her resilience is amazing.
Her healing has been incredible. She's inspirational to all of us at JAPS, and I can't say enough great things. She's very strong.
So strong that Watts has returned to work part-time. Megan Mangello, Local 12 News.
And Molly Wellman said it's policy in all of her establishments to have employees walk out in pairs when their shift is finished. Now, Watts did that, and it was her co-worker who quickly called 911 when she was knocked unconscious.
But first, breaking news. Do you recognize these men? They're wanted for shooting and killing a young man out walking his dog. Good evening, everyone. I'm UP Washington.
And I'm Jessica Cartalia. Milan Loncher's family is devastated. The 25-year-old was looking forward to so much this year. Tonight, his sister tells me she got an alert on her phone through the Citizen app that there had been a shooting in their Brewery Town neighborhood. When they couldn't get a hold of him on his phone, they knew something was wrong.
He was living his best life. His girlfriend was moving in next month.
Yelena Loncher says her brother Milan had everything going for him.
There was no reason for this. This wasn't supposed to happen. He's 25.
Around 7 o'clock Wednesday night, Loncher was walking his dog when two suspects approach him near 31st and Jefferson Streets. Surveillance video just released captures the moment two men surround Milan. One puts a gun to his chest while another goes through his pockets. Seconds later, he's killed.
No money on him. Like, no weapon. Murdered. For a while, I was wondering if he was targeted, but like, he didn't have anything on him. He couldn't have been. This was intentional, just to kill him.
Police tell us Loncher called for help, then dropped his phone. When they arrived, he was still holding on to his dog's leash.
This was just senseless. It was just, it was just awful.
Loncher graduated from Temple in 2019. Before that, Conestoga High School. He was working for Whiting Turner, a job he loved.
You guys are really close. We do Sunday dinner every week. He is honestly like the heart of our group, and it's just not gonna be the same. He was so good. He was so good.
Milan's father is flying back to Philly now from Serbia. Detectives want people to get a good look at the jeans that the suspects were wearing, as well as their shoes, believing that these are vital clues to track them down.
Inside her assisted living home.
The 82-year-old's caregiver is accused of stealing from her and then killing her to try to cover up the crime. Eyewitness News reporter Greg Suskin was there in that courtroom when the jury and the family saw the crime scene pictures for the very first time. Greg.
Lots of folks inside that courtroom, including members of the victim's family, simply turned their heads and could not look when they showed crime scene and autopsy photos up on a big screen in that room. Prosecutors trying to prove that Pauline Cook's death was not caused by a fall in the shower.
When I opened the door, her room was full of water.
Linda Roach, the third shift supervisor at the assisted living center, discovered Pauline Cook laying halfway in the shower in her room.
I was totally hysterical. I had never had an incident like this happen.
Police say Briquette Walton, a part-time caregiver there, smothered Cook to death in her bed, dragged her body into the shower, then threw away her pillows and sheets, staging the whole scene herself, even putting a shower cap on Cook's head. Prosecutors say just hours before her death, Cook was upset, telling employees about checks she found that had been written on her accounts. They had Walton's name on them.
She was very angry and she was yelling, and that's what got my attention. I approached her and I said, "What is wrong, Miss Cook?" And she said, "Someone's writing checks on me."
Prosecutors say when Walton realized Cook knew about the forged checks, that was the motive for the murder, and she snuck back into the facility later that night and killed her. Defense lawyers pointed out that not a single person saw Walton at the center that night. And we learned today that while Cook was complaining out loud about those forged checks earlier, an employee that was a friend of Walton's overheard and told Walton about it. That's when prosecutors say Walton decided to go back and sneak in. Later that night, Cook was dead.
Now, friends and family are gathering to remember Kara Teal, the pregnant 19-year-old brutally murdered in Beaumont 1 year ago today. Teal was shot outside the Sienna Trails apartment complex where she lived. Her daughter, Kendall, was born at the hospital and died shortly after her mom. 3 men have been charged with capital murder in Teal's death: Destin Bernard, Johnny Pfeiffer Jr., and Corey Spencer Jr.
Fox 4's Chris Malooly was at tonight's balloon release honoring Kara and Kendall and joins us now in the studio. Chris, you spoke with Kara's husband. What does he have to say about his wife's death 1 year later?
Well, guys, Kara's husband, Andrew Teal, says each day is hard without his wife, but he's thankful for those who came for the balloon release tonight, something he plans on having each year. Balloons soaring into the sky. 1 year after Kara Tell's death, her daughter Alea waves goodbye to her balloon. And hello to her mom. On a day that's hard on those who knew Kara.
It's today that we lost both of them, but it's also Kendall's birthday.
Kara was 7 months pregnant with her daughter Kendall. Kara's husband Andrew says the support he and the Teal family have gotten means everything.
Showing up today, a year later, showing that she's never been forgotten, it just means the world to us.
Andrew says the help he's gotten around the house.
They watch Alea while I'm work rotating shift.
To everyone keeping him going through the tough days.
For the support, the love, the messages we receive.
Helps him and his family keep going. And friends and family continued the gathering after the balloon release. And Andrew says, staying strong after her death. Kara's death will come through the strength of each other.
A plea deal for the man charged with capital murder and attempted capital murder in the Kara Teal case. You may recall this tragic story from about 2 years ago. Kara was 7 months pregnant when she was fatally shot returning home at a Beaumont apartment complex. Her baby girl died not long after delivery at a hospital. Well, today, one of the 3 people charged in this case, Dustin Bernard, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of aggravated robbery. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Prosecutors say they don't believe Bernard pulled the trigger. 2 teenagers also charged with capital murder in this case. A man who pleaded guilty to shooting and killing a Beaumont mother in 2017 will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Corey Spencer won't be eligible for parole until he's 45 years old. He pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and aggravated robbery in connection with Kara Teal's death. The baby she was carrying also died following that shooting. It was an emotional day in court for the families of the victim and defendant. Today, again, Spencer was only 14 years old at the time of the murder. He's 17 now. Spencer took to the stand to apologize and express his remorse today. He said the murder was unintentional and that he was breaking into cars. Teal's mother held up a photo of her lost daughter, saying she does not feel sorry for the shooter.
Kara Teal's family's been wrecked. I mean, she was pregnant. She had a baby. By this time, she would have probably had another. I mean, she had a husband. She was with her mom. Her mom is not the same. Will never be the same. And this was a bad one.
After the sentencing, the mother of the shooter was also outraged and had to be escorted out of the courtroom by police. The defense asked Judge Raquel West to have mercy on Spencer because of his age, but the judge said he had been given many opportunities following other robbery crimes. Again, Spencer will be eligible for parole in 28 years.
Yo! Tonight, alarming charges against 2 senior care workers in Florida. For real, stop playing. Let's stop You're peeing on yourself. You're watching what the sheriff's office says is 2 women live streaming their abuse of a dementia patient on Snapchat and laughing about it. So embarrassing.
I'm sorry, yeah, she embarrassing.
Let's go. Lock her in the closet. Investigators providing an edited portion of that video blurring the victim. Put your pants on. Law enforcement says they got a tip from an employee at Market Street Memory Care Residences outside Orlando about the live stream from April 3rd. Deputies arrested 2 nursing assistants, 20-year-old Shaitiana Bishop and 18-year-old Jada Harris, on counts including abuse and neglect of an elderly person and video voyeurism.
I'm going to try and use restraint as I tell you about this case. And I say I'm going to try and use restraint because I'm disgusted.
Sheriff Wayne Ivey of Brevard County sounding off about the 2 suspects.
The perpetrators in this case are not only disgusting, but they're vile individuals who live stream themselves abusing one of our elderly citizens who suffers from dementia.
We were unable to reach Bishop or Harris for comment. They're both out on bond, according to the Brevard County Public Defender's Office. The sheriff saying the facility acted appropriately.
Contacted our agency fired the two individuals, did everything right.
Market Street Memory Care Residences also telling NBC News the behavior is abhorrent and will not be tolerated, adding that the victim didn't suffer any injuries and they're providing support to the family of the victim. Incidents like this are rare, but Ann Sansevero, board president of the Aging Life Care Association, says she believes what we find out about is just the tip of the iceberg.
It's probably more common than we know because so many elders are ashamed of elder abuse. They feel humiliated. They want to hide it.
And there are warning signs to look out for to make sure your loved one is getting quality care.
Is the clothing clean? Are they looking underfed? Are they poorly groomed? Is there an odor in the home, where it might be that they're not getting changed often enough? These are kind of telltale signs that the care is subpar.
Stephen Romo joins us now. Stephen, it's so hard to watch that video. You feel for that patient, but you also feel for her family who were paying for those services. So what are some of the warning signs? I know we heard them there at the end in your piece. And if you are worried about your loved one, if they're being mistreated, what can you do?
Yeah, it's hard not to be worried after watching something like that. These people often so vulnerable in these homes. That expert we talked to said the best thing you can do if you sense a problem to go straight to the administration and talk to them about it and be ready to escalate that as is necessary. Yeah. They also say that one good thing you can do is just these surprise visits. Just show up unannounced, not your regular time to visit, to see how things are really going on at that place. They also say, the sheriff's office said, if you're watching a live stream, if you're scrolling through social media and you see something like this, report it to police. Don't just be disturbed by it and move on. There could be a crime committed here, so make sure you let them know.
It had been so long at that point that it seemed like maybe it was just going to be a case that never got resolved.
More than 4 months later, a 19-year-old has now been charged in the dragging death of Oakland bakery owner Jen Angel. Her loved ones tell us the arrest has reopened some wounds as they are still grieving. Hello again, everyone. I'm Alex Savage.
And I'm Christina Rendon. The suspect has been charged with murder and robbery. KTVU's Jana Kasiyama joins us live tonight after speaking with Angel's friend. Jana.
Well, friends of Jen Angel say that she deeply believed in giving people second chances and finding humanity in others, and also giving people a chance at redemption. And that is why they are saying publicly tonight that they want prosecutors to take a different path to justice. Close friends are still feeling pain from losing Jen Angel, and they say news of an arrest and her death has ripped open the wounds they were trying to heal with her loss.
It brought up a lot of more memories and emotions about the loss of Jen. I think for myself, I was starting to get to a place of still having moments of grief hitting me.
Angel was the owner of Angel Cakes Bakery in Oakland, a woman, friends say, who loved life and reached out to find humanity in everyone she met. Angel died after a thief smashed the window of her car outside a bank in downtown Oakland in February. She got out and somehow got caught in the suspect's vehicle as it drove off and was dragged 50 feet down the road. Now, a suspect is in jail. Police arrested 19-year-old Ishmael Jenkins Birch on June 2nd. Records show Birch is being held at the Santa Rita jail in Dublin on charges including murder, second-degree robbery, and one battery charge for a second robbery nearby on the same day. Detectives say evidence shows Birch was driving the car that pulled up next to Angel's vehicle and drove off. In a public statement, Jen Angel's estate called on prosecutors to honor Angel's commitment to restorative justice by pursuing accountability, but not prison time. They say, quote, imprisonment does not change the social and economic conditions that lead to instability and violence in our society.
Hopefully, we're not defined by the worst thing we've ever done. And that the possibility for redemption and for healing and care for each other and mutual support is really important to Jen.
And Angel's friends say that they have been working with restorative justice organizations, including Restore Oakland. Meantime, Birch is being held without bail. He does have a plea hearing scheduled for July 14th. Reporting live, Jana Kasiyama, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
A bold crime in Hacienda Heights where a woman is dragged by a purse snatcher across a parking lot while still clutching her handbag. Now, a couple of men, they ran after the suspect, but he managed to get away with the woman's purse.
KTLA's Carlos Saucedo is live in Hacienda Heights with reaction tonight. Carlos.
Good evening. The violent robbery happened outside this Bank of America. A woman was desperately holding onto her purse, but the suspect was able to snatch it and get away. Tonight, I spoke with residents here in Hacienda Heights who tell me they think crime is simply getting out of control. The robbery quick but hard to watch. A woman is dragged in the parking lot as she clutches onto her purse. The thief finally yanks it from her as she's on the ground and takes off, while bystanders chase him off. The robbery happened Monday afternoon outside this Bank of America on Azusa and Pepperbrook Way in Hacienda Heights.
It might be your aunt, your grandma. I come here with my wife, my little kid, and you never know. I open the door and somebody comes in with a knife or a gun. It's scary.
The LASD industry station is investigating the incident. They say the victim is okay, but sustained some scrapes on her arm from being pulled.
It's kind of heartbreaking because I don't want that to happen to anyone. I mean, I've been robbed before, and I know that feeling about, having my personal items being stolen. So it's not a good feeling.
It's unclear if the suspect was armed, but authorities say no materialistic item is worth giving up your life for. Earlier Tuesday morning, a woman was stabbed after being mugged by a robber outside Dottie's flower shop in Reseda. The 40-year-old victim was taken to a hospital. The suspect arrested.
It's unbelievable because it's daylight. To be honest, you hear about these crimes at nighttime. Now it's just broad day. There's a market down there. There's kids. It's businesses around. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Then there was this flash mob robbery from over the weekend. More than $300,000 worth of merchandise was stolen from Nordstrom at Westfield Topanga Mall. A security guard was attacked with bear spray. Critics say this is an example of thieves becoming more bold and violent due to LA County's controversial zero bail policy for those accused of misdemeanor crimes.
Unfortunately, I feel like crime is getting quite a bit out of control. I hope that lady can, recover from her loss.